I'm going to show you some tricks that I like to do with a Svengali deck. Now, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you already know what a Svengali deck is, but I'll give you the basics in case you don't. A Svengali deck is a trick deck that's designed to allow you to show the spectator that all the cards are different. They can clearly see it's a full deck of different cards. And then by taking just one card off the bottom of the deck and moving it to the top of the deck, snap your fingers, and now the entire deck is all the same card. Now that's how the Svengali deck works, but you really don't want to do that as a trick because ultimately you don't want them to know that the deck is a trick deck of cards, right? You want to act like this is a regular deck of cards. Look, all different cards, and I'm going to have you pick a card, and then it's going to be the 9 of hearts because that's what this Svengali deck forces. If you do a trick where you make this magically change, now they're all 9 of hearts, it's like, okay, cool. You have a trick deck of cards that you bought at a magic shop. Who cares, right? You want them to believe, look, this is a regular deck of cards like any deck of cards you've ever seen, and I'm showing you it's all regular cards, and now let me do this trick with it. I'll start with the most basic and probably obvious trick that you would do with a Svengali deck, and that's force a card and then make it appear somewhere else that's impossible. So I like to start off by showing the entire deck is all different cards, but I don't make a big deal about this. Don't try to oversell it, because if you start trying to prove that it's a regular deck of cards, that's when they're going to start asking questions. I just flipped through quickly and said it. Mentally, they're seeing they're all different cards, but I'm not like presenting it that way. So it's just real quick. I have this deck of cards, all these different choices. I want you to say stop at any time. Wherever you say stop, I'll stop. So let's say they stop there. Now they could have stopped at any card, but they stopped at the 9 of hearts. And what are the odds that inside this other deck of cards is one and only one card that's face up, and it is the 9 of hearts. This was very basic, right? I just put the 9 of hearts upside down in another deck of cards. But you can make this card appear anywhere, right? Have an envelope that's sealed, or put it in your back pocket, or even better, slip this into somebody else's pocket without them noticing and then do this trick later. Like, you'll blow their mind. Another simple trick that you can do with a Svengali deck is the ambitious card routine. Now that's a trick that you can do with a regular deck of cards too, but it takes a lot more practice and work. So if you're new to Magic or a beginner, this is a great way to perform the same trick. It looks just as amazing, and it doesn't take a ton of work to learn. So again, you'll ask them to say stop. They say stop wherever. In this case, they got the Ace of Spades, of course. That's your force card, right? They don't know that. You put it back, cover the deck up, you wave over the top, snap your fingers, do what you want, and it jumps back to the top. Now you tell them, look, it's on the top. Let me give it a cut. You want me to cut again, or you want me to stop? They say, yeah, cut again. You cut again. It doesn't matter, right? Cut here, snap your fingers, it's back to the top. Do it again, right? Cut. You can cut as many times as you want. It's always going to be at the top because obviously it is the force card. Now you can combine these two effects to make a longer routine or a cooler trick. You have them pick a card. They pick this one. Of course, it's the Ace of Spades. You do your little magical move. It shows back on top. You know, you give the deck, let's say, a cut, and then all of a sudden you show them that magically the ace has vanished from the deck. You get to the entire deck and it's not there. Why isn't it there? Because somehow it jumped to this deck. I didn't have the two decks that matched the same back, so obviously to do this trick, you'd need the backs of the cards to look the same, or else they'd know exactly what happened. So in filming this video, I used two different types of trick decks, right? And I called them both Svengali decks, but this is a true Svengali, meaning that I can flip through the cards and they look like they're all different, but if I flip it this way and I flip through the cards, they look like they're all the same, right? And that's true. But what you can't do with the Svengali deck, though, is spread the deck like this, because if you do, they're going to see that there's a bunch of aces in there. They're hidden in there. The other deck that I used is called the Mirage deck, and it does a lot of the same things that a Svengali deck does. You show they're all different. If you flip it this way, they're all the same. Again, you shouldn't do that, but you could. They're all the same. But with a Mirage deck, you can actually spread the cards out, show they're all different. So I highly recommend getting a Mirage deck. If you're going to get a trick deck, Svengali's great. Spend a few extra dollars, you get the Mirage deck. It's a much better effect because you can literally just show the cards are different. You can have them touch the back of any card, and whatever card they pick, it's going to be the force card. I'd love to hear other ideas of things you can do with Svengali decks or Mirage decks, so please leave a comment to let me know how you like to use these decks. They think it's the same deck because you were already performing. Hey, and Luna wanted to come and say hi.